Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? Welcome back to another episode of the world famous The University Love. The Universally Loved Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the best podcast in 1, 2, 3 galaxies. Ladies and gentlemen, you and I and the millions of people that listen, we just call this show Online Marketing Moves. And we are coming to you live today. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to learn how to market yourself, if you want to learn the ins and outs about marketing with the guy who is a marketing expert, you come to the right place, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, you know why? Because this show started off as nothing. Now we got people who listen, people who download more and more and more. And ladies and gentlemen, this theme keeps on coming. So if you want to be here every day, listen, subscribe, you go to your Spotify's, your Apples, all that jazz, wherever you got to go. You go and you say, you know what? This is my favorite show. You click on it, and then every time we do an episode, every time it downloads, it'll hit your phone, your computer, your iPad, your Notebook Pro, your whatever, whatever. But ladies and gentlemen, tune in to this show on a regular basis because we are coming to you live every day, okay? And we are giving you great content every day, starting in the year 2023. And today is no different than those other episodes, okay? Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to talk about you want to be a YouTube star, okay? I'm talking to you. You listening. You want to be a YouTube star. And then you thinking to yourself, you want to be a podcast pirate, okay? You want to be the best of the best of the best. Now, you might be a little nervous. You might be a little shy. You might be a little reserved. You might be whatever. You might be all those things. And you're thinking to yourself, what do I do when it comes to the content I create? Should I be scripted like I'm in a WWF style promo? Or should I go at it off the cuff? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you a secret. And you might not believe this, but ladies and gentlemen, even this show, the best show you've listened to, okay? The best show that you've listened to, we don't go fully off the cuff. Most of this show is off the cuff. But I have gotten quite better at saying, hey, let's go down one direction, okay? And I had to write down notes. I write down notes. I'll say, okay, today is, what do I want to talk about today? What point should I make? Because if you ever want to go back and listen to the show in the beginning, I would drift. I would go into one subject, drift into another one, go into the next one, drift into another one. Ooh. And by the time I got done, the audience probably felt like they was on a roller coaster ride. Like, this guy goes everywhere, okay? And that's good and all, but when you really want to start honing in your skills, when you really want to start trying to build an audience, you want to be more precise. You want to be more. You want to make it more clean. You want to have. It doesn't have to be 100% scripted, but you definitely want to have some notes. You definitely want to know what direction you want to head down, because the worst thing you can do is radio silence. Now, every now and then, you might be talking, and every now and then there might be a pause. I'm not saying, hey, this is a real thing. But for the most part, and you and I both know this, people claim they want authentic, but they really don't. Let's be honest with each other. You and I both know if I was recording this podcast and let's say all of a sudden I was like, ladies and gentlemen, give me 2 minutes, and I got up and I walked around the corner somewhere and came back, what would you say? What the? No, I'm not giving him 2 minutes. I'm out of here. You would get off the podcast. And so people say they want authentic, but they really don't. They want, because you'll hear this a lot. You will hear this a lot. Oh, I wish people were more authentic. I wish people were more real. But look at who dominates. Look at who dominates the social media airwaves. The Kardashians. What's real about them? Absolutely nothing. Okay? Instagram models who cut up their pictures and all that. They do the highlights, the whatever you call them. I don't know what you call them, but touch-ups and all that jazz. People do all that. Those people get more followers than anybody when it comes to Instagram and social media and all that. If I took a picture of me just waking up, it'd get a couple likes, but it wouldn't be. If I let me put some fake muscles on and let me be Liver King and put some fake muscles on and take my shirt off and show you my abs, it'd be 1,000 likes. So we all know people are liars, people are fake, phony, and people like phoniness. I'm not saying you have to be phony when it comes to, but you want to know what direction you're going when you're doing YouTube videos. You want to have a little script. Do you have to go word for word? Of course not. But you want to sort of stick to the points. You want to stick to the points because people have the attention span of a gnat. People have the attention span of my child, so they will quickly jump off your content. Okay, and so with the podcast is a little more loose. You don't have to have the tightest script, but you want to definitely have some notes, some points, a direction of where you want to head to, and you want to stick to that. If you think about a story, while you're sitting there talking, write it down, come back to it in another episode, or come back to it some other time. Because, listen, for me, I've been at this for 3 years, and I know a lot of people would say, hey man, you don't have the audience you should. It's been 3 years. But for me, I know this is a slow burn, and that's who I am. I'm a sort of, keep plugging away, take my time, and let's see where the chips fall. That's just who I am. So for me, a lot of this stuff was not a deal breaker. Like I told you, when I first started, I go from talking about lemonade stand to being in, Abu Dhabi somewhere, I could go anywhere. Some of it might have been nerves, some of it might not have been, some of it that's just the way my brain sort of operates. But I know now that I want to, hone in and really get the show going. I know you got to have a focus. You got to have the mental focus. You got to lock it in. And so for you, if you want the fast track, if you want to get off the ground a lot quicker than what I did, you will have notes. You will have stuff written down with the podcast. The podcast you don't really, because the podcast is more, hey, it's me, it's you, we're having a conversation. You know, you could be nodding your head, you could be agreeing, you could be disagreeing, but it's more of a informal, situation. Now you still want to have notes. You don't want to go down 100 roads. Trust me, believe you me. You will not get the audience you're looking for if you do that. Okay? And so, but if you're doing YouTube, you want to have a script, because for one, it will help you out tremendously. Because number two, video is hard work, and I'll tell you why. For one, one of the hardest things is when you have because I have a Canon M50. One of the hardest things is to figure out, because most of us, unless you have some camera experience, but for the most part, most of us, I've never stared into a camera before. So if you're trying to think of what to say, and at the same time you're trying to figure out, which way should I look at the camera, what am I doing? What the hell are we doing, Then it's too many things going on. It's too many things going on. It's too much. You don't want that. You want to be able to know what you're going to say, and at the same time, because learning about the camera, that's a skill you can learn. You can learn it very quickly. And what I highly recommend for anything, any kind of content you want to create, if you want to get started, from the word go, what you should do is 30 days. Give yourself the first write podcast every day. You don't have to upload them every day. You don't have to put them out there every day. But do it every day for 30 days. I recommend 90 days, to be honest with you. If you do something every day for 90 days, you'll get used to it. It will become second nature to you. Okay? But the videos don't have to be long. If you want to practice for 30 days, or if you want to just do videos for 30 days, they can be 5 minutes. It don't have to be 30 minutes. It don't have to be an hour. But get the skills down pat. Just keep working at it, and learn how to look into the camera. Once you learn how to look into the camera and be comfortable, read your script, it's great. Okay? The podcast, the same thing. You'll learn how to, slow down. You'll learn how to take a breath. You'll learn how to, some days in the beginning, I remember after I did my 30 days, 90 days, I remember one episode where I didn't have a lot to say, and I said, how am I going to get 5 minutes out of today? And I was able to get 5 minutes out because of the previous experience that I've been doing for the last 4 to 5 months. I was able to slow down a little bit, come up with something, and just keep going with that. And you'll learn that everything is not going to be perfect, of course, but the more you do it, the better you get at it. The more you do it, the better you will get at it, and you'll be better off for it. And then you can start doing things like writing people and say, hey, I do a podcast, let's connect. There's a whole wave of that, but right now we're just talking about you and your content, and should you script or should you not script? And I'll give you an examples of scripted promos. I used to watch wrestling when I was a kid. I watched a lot of wrestling. And back in the 80s and the 90s, they had no script. And so the wrestler would come out, they would go, hey, you're going to face, let's say Hulk Hogan, for example. Hulk Hogan, he will be facing King Kong Bundy in Chicago for WrestleMania 2. So they would say, Hulk Hogan, you're going to fight King Kong Bundy. King Kong Bundy kicked your butt this day, and what are you gonna do in Chicago? And Hulk Hogan would go out there, and he would say, "Hey man, King Kong Bundy, your big egghead, bleepity bleep bleep, whatever. I'm gonna kick your butt in the Horizon Center in Chicago on May 15th. And King Kong Bundy, what are you gonna do when Hulkamaniacs, the 23,000 Hulkamaniacs at WrestleMania run wild on you?" And Hulk Hogan would say it a lot better than what I said it, but the couple of points they gave him, he would use those. He would come up with his own stuff, and boom, boom, boom. Hulk Hogan would get all of us saps to order pay-per-views and buy tickets and everything like that. And that would be that. And now you fast forward to like 40 years later, 30-something years later. I don't watch wrestling anymore, but one day, my brother, he still watches it. So one day, I was flipping through the channels. I saw some wrestling guy on there. He was talking. Sounded very dry, He was dry talking, as I like to say. And so he was dry talking, and there was a lot of, and I am going to kick your butt, and it was very boring. And so I had to go look, and they said most of these guys now, they write the promos out before they get to them. And so, it's scripted, which it means he doesn't have to go out and think. But just because you don't have to go out and think about what you're going to say doesn't mean you shouldn't put inflection, emotion into what you have to say. You understand what I'm saying? Good. You still want to be passionate. You still want to put some emotion into the things that you have to say. Just because you have it all written out does not mean you have to go. And I'll give you an example. Come here. It's 2023. Can't you see? You know what I mean? You don't want to be that. You don't want to be dry. But you definitely want to have some points, direction of where you're going when you're doing the podcast. When you're doing YouTube, I would say have more of a script, because YouTube, you only have a couple. YouTube is important for thumbnails, is important for, all that, but you definitely want, when they get to your video, because you can have the greatest thumbnail, you can have the greatest this, that, and the other, but if you have nothing to say, they will definitely hop off your video quickly. So you want to keep their attention. So make sure you have stuff written down, and don't ever think you don't have anything to say, because you have something to say. You just don't realize it. You have to just tap, tap, tap. And that's why I say do it for 30 days. You'll get better at it, and you'll be knocking stuff out real quick, okay? Or you can always pay somebody, whichever one you want to do. But ladies and gentlemen, that is it. We will be back tomorrow with an all-new episode of Online Marketing Moves. I appreciate you for listening. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, like I said earlier, download, go ahead, subscribe to the channel, give us a review on any streaming platform that you listen to this podcast on. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. And we'll be back tomorrow with the all-new episode of Online Marketing Moves. But until then, my name is Tony Zano. God bless you. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. And as always, everybody, peace.